You usually see Justin Hokanson with us from Auburn Live on 3 Sports, but we're talking about a big recruiting weekend this past weekend for Auburn with Cole Pinkston, who also is now part of the Auburn Live family on 3 Sports, and he is with us now. Cole, man, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Let me start just with a lot of official visits, I understand, this past weekend. Give me a excitement level of the people that were on campus this weekend and how you think Auburn coaches feel about landing some of these guys.
Well, I think the biggest thing about the official visitors at Auburn this weekend is that you had 5 offensive linemen. And if you followed Auburn in the past 5 years, maybe even more than that, that has been a position that has been very elusive for Auburn. I don't know why, especially offensive tackle. It's hard to explain why. It goes all the way back to Gus Malzahn. So that in itself is a big deal. And you had 4 of them were 4-stars with most sites. So you had that going on. And then you had an Alabama commit in Perry Thompson, a guy that's probably going to end up as a 5-star recruit, in-state guy. And honestly, Auburn thinks they got a real shot there. So the feel from this weekend, first of all, the feel going in was huge. They thought that this was going to be one of those big weekends where some momentum would be gained. And from what I understand, it was. And they think they have a shot with all of the guys that were there.
Yeah, not only the 3 new commitments, but 2 previous commitments announced they're shutting down the recruitment altogether. That's Moody defensive back Amon Lane, Andalusia running back Jamarian Burnett. They both announced on social media, recruiting process done. Those are big gets.
Yeah, both 4-star guys with on 3. Amon Lane was the very first commitment of the class almost a year ago, maybe even more than a year ago. That's a guy that, he seems to love Auburn and never really had any doubts with him, thought he was going to stick. But good to see them put that kind of stuff out. I think it's good for other recruits watching. Also a 4-star, Jamarian Fat Burnett. Fat is his nickname. We had heard that possible official visits could happen there, maybe with Florida State. Tennessee was kind of in the mix there, but he puts out a statement that says, "I'm done. I'm going to stay with Auburn." So I thought that was important as well.
How do you get that nickname Fat?
Well, he's about 6'1", 220 pounds as a running back. So, big guy, bruiser type back.
Husky.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
But
yes,
it's
sir.
PH. It's PHAT. Fat like
PH.
like Fat Stack
Correct.
back in the day, right?
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Cole's
Right.
with us from Auburn Sports, Auburn Live at On 3 Sports there. We appreciate him being with us, talking a little Auburn recruiting. So it does seem like the pace has picked up in commitments rolling in. What do you think is working for Hugh Freeze and his staff on the recruiting trail right now?
I think right now you don't have what we call proof of concept. In other words, Hugh Freeze has proof of what he's done at other schools, but not at Auburn yet. You don't have any on-field production from him at Auburn. You don't know exactly how his offense is going to run, what his defense is going to look like, what everything's going to look like. So everything right now has to be about relationships. You start with the relationships and you go, we've got to have a relationship with each guy that's important to us and make sure that they know we're there for them. And then when we get to the field in the fall and show them all of these promises that we're making them, hey, we're going to throw the ball a lot, telling running backs, we're going to use you, we're going to feature you, offensive line, your athleticism, we like your athleticism here. Until you can get to that point, it's all about relationships. And as far as that goes, I think they've knocked it out of the park. I just don't think they could do much better on that side of things.
Year one, the roster transformation, I mean, watching last year with Brian Harsin, just wasn't a good roster. There wasn't a lot of talent. I know coaching obviously came into question, but they lost 6 of their final 8 games. Do you feel, as you cover this team, this roster, even in year one, is better than last year's roster?
100%. And if you look at it, almost half of the team is new. Close to 40 guys, maybe a little over 40. I can't remember the exact number. With freshmen coming in, you picked up 20 guys in the transfer portal, including a quarterback and 3 starting offensive linemen. So that's a huge flip right there in itself. And we watched Robbie Ashford. You know what he's capable of, but still got some work to do as a quarterback, let's be honest. So he went and got a guy that was pretty good at Michigan State, had good stats, did good things. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in the offense. But just those things, and then you get a pass rusher, you got several receivers. I mean, there's a lot of upgrades at different positions. If you're asking me.
Yeah. Cole, before you go, you talk to these recruits, some before the visit, some after the visit. You and your staff do there. How much is the new football building, the facilities playing a role in this? Because, and let's be honest, as good as you try to keep up, the old football building was very dated, had that very 80s, early 90s feel to it. Are you getting a different buzz from these players when they leave the Auburn campus now?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it plays a role. I don't know how big that role is exactly, but for example, a guy that was there this weekend from Hawaii, a 4-star offensive lineman named Preston Talmua, he told me that's the best I've ever seen. That's the standard, and he's been a lot of places, or he's fixing to go to a lot of places, so he'll have something to compare it to. So I thought that was interesting. I've heard several guys do that. Of course, a lot of the guys we're talking to have been there several times now, so I guess they're getting used to it. And I think that just the key thing was you don't want that to be a reason that guys go, I like other places better. The facilities are a little bit better. I think you're on par with everyone else now if you're Auburn.
That's right. Trying to just be on par is where it's at. That's Cole Pinkston, Auburn Live on 3 Sports, and a nice look at what Auburn was able to do in recruiting over the weekend, man. Thank you for being with us. Look forward to talking to you in the future, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.